I sit beside her. The breath from her nose stirs a single coil of hair. How many times have I watched her sleep with a fever? How many times she's done the same? But there's no fever now. No cold. No pain in my stomach. Cassius's wound has healed. Winter is ended. Outside, I saw the first of the flowers blossoming. I picked one on the mountainside. It's in the hidden compartment of my cloak. I want to give it to Mustang. Want her to wake up with the hemathis by her lips. But when I take it out, a dagger slips into my heart. Worse than any metal blade. EO. The pain will never go away. I don't know if it's supposed to. And I don't know if this guilt I feel is owed. I kiss the hemathis and tuck it away. Not yet. Not yet. Low Rusters, here we are again. Last 2 chapters of Red Rising. This
Can't
is
believe
weird,
it.
crazy. I'm almost a little lost for words, but here I am. I am Chuck. I will be the
That's a bad
Ducks.
sign as a podcaster.
Fair point. I am overjoyed, and I have plenty of words. I will be the Ducks of the Day, covering chapters 43, The Last Stand, and 44, Rise. With me, my personal spike dust dealer, Cullen,
Wow.
keeping me on a level mindset throughout these episodes. How are you doing this fine day, my good man?
I would not mind having a little spike dust right now.
Right?
Blast us through these last 2 chapters. I'm also very much like, I can't believe we're here. We're at the end of the road of Red Rising.
Yeah.
And you know what? You are officially the Ducks.
Well, why,
Is it
thank you.
Ducks or Dukes?
I was going with Ducks.
Okay.
I don't know. It
I
sounds
think
silly,
I think
though.
that's how it does. I can't help but think of like the Duck of Death.
And the Ducks.
But you are my ducks in life.
Oh, well, yeah.
Now that
Hell yeah,
I think
I
about it, if the ducks is the person who's like, gives good advice, is a protector, is sound, and like a sounding board, and somebody that is always loyal and there for you as as you go through your life as an Aureate. You've been my ducks, man, not just through Red Rising here in this podcast, but in life itself. So
Well, I am
I
honored.
appreciate you greatly.
I am honored, likewise. And that's a perfect segue into...
No, you're supposed to
testing
call
you.
me you're supposed to call me Dominus.
I'm going to skip past that part because I shall never.
Come on.
Sure, Dominus. Now, that brings me to see how superior you are, and I'm putting you on the spot. And it has to do with the term ducks. Now,
Oh, shit.
it is known as the appointed right hand with unlimited imperium within a house. Question 1. There's only 2. So Virginia Au Augustus had a ducks within her lion guard. What was their name?
Holiday.
Yes, Holiday T.
Okay.
Nakamura.
Okay.
And then the last question, I mean, we didn't need 7 of them, so I figured 2 was enough. It is
Nope.
known...
Yeah, but you have me worried because I'm worried.
it is known that Octavia Aulun had a ducks as well. What was their name?
Aja O'Grimace.
I am impressed, my good man. I am impressed.
Fuck yes. Fuck yes. Fuck yes.
Anyone listening, he deserves a high five. We'll do a
Cullen O'Burke. I'm going to steal the Pax Telemanus.
Hell yes. You have to yell that every episode now. So
I you know what's I was concerned you were going to ask me what Lysander's duck's name is. I know. It's the Gray Praetorian.
Yes, and I can never remember his name.
Ron?
Roan.
Not
Roan T. Flavinius.
Yes.
And I almost
you would have had me there. You would have had me
I
on
thought
that
of
one.
it, but you know what? I dislike the he who shall not be named so much. I just don't want to include him in our first book recap. So I left.
Fair point.
I left Lysander
Fair
out.
point.
even though I just named him
Fair
when he
point.
shouldn't be named. But so good job. I applaud you.
Thank you, sir.
Tip
Thank
of
you,
the
my
hat.
ducks.
This last couple episodes before I'm going to go over a howl of appreciation for me on a personal howl of appreciation. Building a star shell. I know last 2 chapters you talked about Nick Knott's custom. I feel like I'm going to mess that up saying it.
Yeah, I had to say it real slow. Otherwise, I'd fuck it up.
These amazing helmets. And I was trying to talk to him to see if we could get a full-size helmet done. So maybe one day,
Dude,
it would be wild.
if you show up in a wolf cloak. and Ares helm, I would shit my pants.
Oh, now again, another challenge. I'm going to have to start writing these down. I'm running.
I would call you Dominus if you did that.
Oh, now it has to happen. And another one, actually, I have it right here, was something I picked up. You have the Mustang version, but I have something from Hail Reaper Pod, which is one of their posters, which I'm not sure how well, if anyone's listening, it's Severo's.
No, this is a great visual medium, podcasting.
Well, you know, if anyone's watching it on YouTube, you'll see it. I get it, you asshole. But
wait, I didn't see it.
Oh, all right. So this one is, I have to do without the light. This one is Severo's.
Oh, Omnis for Lupus. Nice.
It's very dark, but when the light pops and it hits off the wall, it looks amazing. But my computer screen's kind of messing with that look right now on the camera. But
no, it's awesome. I've got the Hicksont Leones.
For the Mustang, yep.
that nuzzles the hand hanging up right next to me. And it is super cool. It's like the gold lettering and the gold features to the lion really pops.
Yep. I like the style of that. And that's on their Etsy Hail Reaper Pod for that. And so that's as far as these last 2 episodes. We have more things that we want to go over and talk about. I have some other things from different creators on Etsy, but I want to kind of give each their own shout out. I don't want to give it all on like one episode and kind of muddy the waters. And then I honestly don't have anything off the planet after our episodes today because I still have work to do finishing that documentary. So.
Okay. All right.
Yes.
Well, you're an asshole. Did you say you had a personal howl of appreciation?
I do. So, as we've mentioned way back when, we first got into reading because of us finding a Game of Thrones, George R. R. Martin. So, George R. R. Martin.
Yep. You got to do it right.
I got to put on the hood, the cloak. George R. R. Martin's work, his writing, his style, it was the first time actually reading a series or a book where I physically got emotional reading it. Certain chapters, the Red Wedding, just that it was captivating, and I cried at one point, or I teared up. All right, grow up. So,
men can cry, Charles. Men can cry.
That's true. But his works were very pivotal in my years growing up. But at a certain point in time, I was overseas and I needed to get my mind out of the area I was in. And all I had was A Clash of Kings. And I read it over and over and over again so many times, but it literally it saved me. It kept me out of this mindset where I could peel away and put me in a different place and actually helped me continue on to the next day and the next day, the next day. And I just need to have this howl of appreciation, although you'll never hear it or see it. It goes to you, George R. R. Martin, for keeping my head down and making it so I could still be here today. So the howl goes to you.
I second that howl. I remember you talking about it at the time, the green cover one, right?
Yes. Yep.
Yeah. Well, I will back that howl up with another howl towards George for keeping my ducks head down, feet going forward.
Hell yeah. You got to keep those
That's
ducks going. Ducks fly together? No, different thing.
no, that's legit and
Yeah.
beautiful, and hopefully, he'll never hear it, but it's in the ether now. You've done it.
All right. Well, maybe somehow he does, some way, but you're appreciated. Now, please, no. I don't care if you write the last book or not. It doesn't matter.
As we've learned recently, and we didn't talk about it at the time because we record later, but the Hazard Bedlam, there was a weird undercurrent of people like demanding Red God from Pierce
Yes.
Brown. Like, why isn't this the thing you're
Very
releasing?
uncool.
Why is just fucking weird? Like,
Yeah.
what makes you think you're even owed Red God? He could walk away tomorrow and just be like, you
I'm
got
done.
these 6 books. That's all I wanted to do. You're done. The fact that he's even like got a book maybe coming out next summer, and it's, just be thankful.
Yes.
And on top of that, clearly you don't write.
Yeah, you can't push artists. It doesn't create good work. And I know the Fade to Obsidians, they mentioned this at the time,
they did
and
a
there
good
was
job.
posts
They kind of why we didn't cover it is they kind of covered everything.
Yeah. But I mean, not, tip of the cap to them. They called it out immediately, and they were right. It's not cool, and don't push an artist to produce work for your own self gratification. Like let them cook, let them do their thing, and wait patiently, like the rest of us.
And just be happy with what you have. Like,
Yeah.
it's just, again, it's clearly none of those people create anything, because if you're just trying to speed it out to get it out, like, you're just going to make shit. So I don't know. I thought it was weird. But I do think some of it is like a cultural hangover with Martin, people being so upset and having this fear that they're going to have this thing they loved not come to some conclusion. And there's something is there of that bleeding into this. And it's so far from the truth. Like, Pierce Brown's younger than us, I think. I mean, he could come back to Red God in 25 years and still put it out. Like, who gives a shit?
Yeah. And it actually touches on something I'm going to bring up as a conflict within these 2 chapters. It's like my own personal mindset and how sometimes I leave things unfinished on purpose because I want to like cling on to it and not let it end. But I break that down later on, and I don't want to dive too much into that right now. But recap has begun. Chapter 43, The Last Test. With Darrow finding Mustang in a suite along Jupiter's own rooms, she is drugged and asleep on the floor. But not before completely destroying the room and everything inside of it, because she never goes down without a fight. Because Darrow is apparently the romantic sort, after confronting Jupiter in a major battle and several basically hamstringing him, he found the time to go frolicking and pick a mantis flower so he can present it to Mustang if ever he finds her. But when he attempts to give it to her as she sleeps, he's smacked with the reality of the situation. As the quote in the beginning, Eo's death, his torn heart. That's just got to be a weird, funky feeling. I always kind of have a soft spot for books or stories that talk in this way, where you can have a second chance at love or something like that. So I was torn for him going through this conflicting moment at the time. He eventually tucks the flower back away and wakes her. Darrow informs Mustang that the jackal is hiding up in the mountains with half his army, and the other half besieges Mars. Mustang questions Darrow's decision to trust her, to root the jackal out, and to prove that he trusts her, he leans in for a kiss, the ultimate sign of trust. And
It is in my experience.
it always works, doesn't it? So we'll touch on that moment too later on, but once they fix their skirts and they depart, Severo has found the hollow transmitter, the Institute's main hard drive, and has begun splicing the story that Darrow wants told. Fitchner has been brought up to Olympus from Apollo's dungeons. And to me, in this part of the chapter, Fitchner drops some targeted bombs during their conversation that I want to pick apart afterwards. But he brings up three main points that the game is not finished. First of all, Cassius still exists. He's in the north. He must be dealt with. And I don't know for you, but for me, in this point in the story, I thought as well, shit. Darrow, we know he's a formidable fighter, but he's not a fencer. He's not good with a razor. He does have to confront Cassius at some point. He's going to get his ass beat or killed again. I almost hoped that Mars got sacked at this point in the story. I don't know how your take was on that.
I kind of was in the same mindset, not about Mars being sacked. I was kind of in the mindset of like, nothing in the story has told us he's become a better sword fighter.
Yeah.
So
true.
there's no reason to think that the outcome of that fight would be any different than what it was months before when he gutted him. Everything we've learned, he's learned how to fight around his inability to fence.
Yeah, he finds a way.
Change the paradigm and things like that. But in a straight up 1-to-1, I think he still loses to Cassius at this point. That being said, I think he's smarter. I don't think he gets into a position where it's going to be 1v1.
No, Sevro's behind there or something. He finds a way.
Yeah. So, but I agree with you. Yeah, I think it would still probably, if it were that situation, I think Cassius is just better with the blade.
Yeah. Yep. If it's a fair fight, then I believe 9 bajillion times out of 10 bajillion times, Cassius is going to win and just kill Darrow again, essentially.
I agree.
Fitchner questions what to do about the sacking of Olympus. And thirdly, of all the people he chose to go after the Jackal, he sends none other than his twin sister, Virginia Au Augustus, a.k.a. Mustang. Thus begins his spiral of the chapter. Darrow forgets all that he knows or thinks he knows about his relationship with Mustang. All he sees is red. He gave half of his fully equipped, fully armored army to his rival's twin. But maybe it's just me. I didn't buy this part of the story. I saw it as a cool, all right. So I saw it as a cool, interesting twist. All right, they're throwing it in there, but I didn't see it at all as Mustang. According to their cave interactions, her understanding of the faults within the society, she was the standard bearer for House Minerva, but she never took credit or took ownership of the army together. It just seemed like it was put in there for drama, but I didn't at all see it, turning into a thing.
I think that's 100% right. I felt the same way in that the character that Pierce gave us in Mustang and that he was describing this whole book.
Yeah.
It would be one of those things where it would be like you built this entire thing and then at the last minute, just for the sake of shock value, you're going to have her turn out to be the evil twin of the Jackal. And this was all a masquerade. And it would have just, I would have been annoyed. I don't know if it would have derailed me from the book series, but it might have, because Mustang turns out to be my favorite character. And so like, if she's not this,
besides Lorne,
besides Lorne, but like, if she's not this really wonderful dichotomy of gold, but also reformer, and if she weren't that real, I would have been like, I don't know, I don't buy that.
I would have been decimated. I would have, because I'm falling in love.
My outlook.
Yeah, I agree with your point that I would have fallen in love with her character, her personality, and then I would have saw no rhyme or reason. Like Pierce's writing would just flip it. It's like, all right, she's your arch enemy. The whole I would have lost interest immediately, probably.
It also feels very soap opera, like at the end of the episode, just to the the boyfriend comes back
The
from the
turn.
dead, or the
Yeah.
evil cousin, or the evil twin
Crawls out of
shows
the
up. It's
well.
like, yeah, it's very much like I'm very happy that it didn't turn out that
Yes.
way.
100%.
Because for a moment there, it is like, okay, where's it going with this?
But he spirals hard, that's for sure.
Yeah.
Darrow, it corrupts him completely. You know, he lost EO, and now he's mindset. He lost Mustang. Now he fears he's going to lose the entire institute. Everything he's worked hard for is just going to be gone. So he's then decided that he needs bodies. He needs them fast. He has to go to Mars and defeat the armies there, enslave them, and get back for this eventual battle between the twins. So, with all haste and on newly acquired grav boots, he takes off with a group of howlers and heads off towards Mars. Mars is in such a state of ruin, besieged for months, and it's quite a sad spectacle from what I remember reading. The walls are all crumbling down from these siege weapons, which, talking back to earlier chapters, Cassius was asking, how do you take these castles? You must use siege weapons. And as you mentioned last chapter, they actually eventually did give them siege weapons to take these walls down. But the Howlers and Darrow come down from the sky like golden gods and completely ravage the forces of Jupiter, Apollo, and Pluto. But to be fair, the Howlers do all the work, while Darrow walks imperviously towards the castle walls, taking in the sights, frolicking on the battlements. But he looks up and he notices there's 3 bodies hanging on crucifixes on the walls. Cassandra, Vixis, and Antonia. In my opinion, at this point, he made a mistake to cut them down. I remember reading it the first time. I was like, why would you bother? Antonia tried to kill you multiple times. She's a backstabbing psychopath. Cassandra's not too far behind. Vixis, for some reason, I can't remember what he may or may not have done. But
wasn't he the one that followed Mustang into the forest? When she hid and Darrow saw her,
or was
and
that
like
Pollux? I forget.
Was
it
it
was
Pollux?
Vixis or Pollux? It was one of them.
Well, Vixis and Pollux are both like one of the two faces of the same coin. They're both bad actors.
It was probably Vixis, but yeah. So, and then he's just has him cut down and sent back to Olympus so then the medbots can actually attend to their wounds. I thought it was an interesting moment where, again, Darrow is a red who wants to destroy and kill golds, yet he's spending time and resources to save them.
Well, I think it's telling us he's a compassionate human being,
Yes.
no matter what color he is. And
yes.
that's a dangerous thing to be in the real world and in the fake world. Like,
and how
you're more likely to get burned.
The dreams that he hopes to topple everything, it's not so easy. Things have to change. You have to adapt. So once everyone sees Darrow and his howlers killing off the army besieging Mars, the Mars flag comes down and up goes a soiled bedsheet with the hastily drawn sling blade. The castle walls open and all these old Mars students start coming out and praising Reaper, praising Darrow. So glad he's back. And there's one particular person that comes out, the one and only Benedict Arnold, Roke, who comes out to give Darrow a hug and, cry on his shoulder. Pollux also lives as well, and he comes out. So it must have been Vixis chasing Mustang. Pollux comes out and informs Darrow that it was actually Roke and Quinn who kept the house together. So I'll give you respect for that, Roke. And that Cassius, it seems to have given up a long time ago. Cassius waits in the war room. And
I just want to, hold on, before you continue, I just want to call it out. We are in the last chapter recap of Red Rising, and you are still holding strong to this Roke.
I can't show weakness.
The bad guy. All right, I'm into it.
He's not the ultimate bad guy in this story, but there's there's a lot of question marks in my mind, and I could be at fault. I could be completely wrong. I never trusted him. But that's me. That's my biases. I apologize. Anyone disagrees, but Cullen's wrong. Anyways, so Cassius waits up in the war room. Darrow heads up to meet with him. And just as a quick recap, we'll touch on it, but let's just say their meeting did not go very well. Darrow demands a blood feud with Darrow. There's a quote here. If ever again we meet, you are mine or I am yours. If ever again we draw breath in the same room, one breath shall cease. Now to questions and conflicts that I kind of want to pick apart in this chapter. How quickly Darrow's mindset shifted since his early days as a Red. You touched on it a little bit. And now since his carving and he's a gold, how he interacted with lower colors while they were taking of Olympus, and these lower colors were in Olympus and they were tending to Mustang. He says specifically, I watch them skitter away. My distant cousins. I see them move, alien things, like ants, so void of emotion. I feel a pang. Perspective is a wicked creature.
Mm. That's a good
So,
quote. I
yeah.
didn't pick up on that when I was reading it.
So the way I kind of read it, though, it's like no matter what happened to his body, he's still a Red. He's been for 18 years. He knows their turmoil, yet how quickly it almost seemed like his perspective changed. Like he glimpsed them almost as if they are a low color, at least to me. That's how I interpreted that. I don't know if you see it similarly.
No, I think you're right. I think that's part of this whole journey is him trying to keep at bay the seduction of power, of being gold, of how
Yeah.
easily you could slip into that. They are
Mindset.
kind of, they are kind of worker
Feeble.
bees. It's the inverse of when you read or watch or consume something about how like a colonist eventually goes and becomes part of a tribe or the local community or whatever and realizes, oh, they aren't savages and tribal, whatever. They actually are just regular, human beings with emotions and love and passion. They're just like us. They have culture and civilization. It's the opposite of that story where the quote unquote savage has gone to the colonial city and learns, oh, they're not just domineering monstrous lords, they're also just people. And you know what, maybe they're right, maybe we are like low breeds and all that. It's kind of a gross story. Like you don't want to have him thinking that, and the fact that you picked that out is good. I like that because it is something that he struggles with.
Yes.
And
do you think
will always struggle with?
Continuously, yeah. But do you think it was the school that started to make him look differently at this passage, at these lower colors, or was it the carving itself, making him into a gold in every way, superior in mind and body, or was it the act of actually the schooling and living with these other golds and acting like
I think it's
them?
the school.
Yeah.
I think it's the school because I think the carving, sure, that gives him the ability to blend.
Yeah.
But his time with the golds and seeing that they're actually human beings and they aren't wrong about everything and that they're not totally evil monsters, monolithic, pure evil creatures, maybe makes it easier, more simple to find yourself in the same wheels of thought that they're working with. I don't know if that makes sense, but I think it's definitely the school being in that environment. And also there is an element here of, he has to be that way.
Yeah.
And if you're always, like we talked about the spy analogy a while back, but like it would be hard to break out of that. If you're so deep in character it's like method actors, you know. At some
It
point,
is your being. It's not acting.
it's you're not acting anymore. You are
Yeah.
that thing, and he's actually doing the opposite. Instead of trying to be gold, he's now trying to be red, or
He's
he
trying
has
to
to find
remember.
his red at times,
And you've
which I
said
think is
it.
an interesting thing for him.
Yeah, you've said it early chapters, like how there's the three versions of Darrow. Um, Darrow as a red, Darrow as a gold, and then the Reaper. And
Yeah.
that's stuck with me ever since. And it's always he's trying to find the happy medium, or sometimes one of them takes root and consumes him for a portion, but then he's always trying to fight back and get to that other version. But he's
It
like a
gets
chameleon.
so apparent at times that in the later books, there will be like one whole chapter where he's the Reaper through and through.
Yeah.
And then the next chapter is him trying to figure out whether he needs to be the gold or he needs to be the red. And it's almost like this cyclical thing where he can't figure out how to get back to the version that he wants to be at that time.
And then there's going to be basically in Lightbringer, I would say, argue there's a new version that forms
Oh,
when he
yeah, good
starts
point.
finding. So, we'll have to circle back to that. I mean, 12 years from now when we get to that book. But how I read that chapter 2, though, was how did he not realize these were his distant cousins? They were trained to avoid emotion. They're
But
shown.
were they red?
There was a brown, and then there was a pink. There wasn't reds, no. But
That's I think another layer here of like,
oh yeah, true. They're probably
even
trained to
though
do
they're
that because they're meant to be there, but out of sight, out of mind. They're supposed
yeah,
to be quiet. They're supposed to
speak
scurry
when
away
spoken
like ants.
to. Yeah, the best servants in like an English household in the Victorian age were the ones that weren't seen.
Yeah, don't. Yeah,
It's supposed to be a magic act. Like everything is supposed to be perfect all the time, and it's supposed to appear as though nobody's doing it.
yeah,
So you're right. I think they were told or trained and taught to be that way. That being said, we're also getting a layer here of like the colors are racist against the other colors.
yes,
Like
yeah. They're
reds
pitted against
have
each other.
but he also would have no interaction with browns or
True. Yeah.
pinks as a red. Like he would know they exist, but he would have had no experience of them or very little. And so like the otherism of the colors. And so when we say they're distant cousins, yeah, but they're not. They're different
True.
species to these guys.
Yeah, that's a good point. But at least he has enough foresight somewhere in his way deep conscious that he knows they could get injured during this Olympus takeover. So he tells them,
Oh yeah, I mean,
hide. My army does not always listen when I tell them not to toy with low colors. So at least he
I think again,
goes that
it's
far.
like the crucifix thing. He's like still a compassionate human being.
Yeah.
He sees them as humans and doesn't want them harmed or hurt, but he still sees them as colors. He's
Yeah.
not like, oh, these people have to go to safety. He's like the brown and the pink, and like he's trying to break the wheel of the society. And it's even for the one who so clearly sees that wheel needs to be broken, he's having a hard time breaking it himself.
Yeah. So then another topic or conflict I wanted to break down in this chapter. Darrow asks Mustang if she wants, she can take our army and root the jackal out of the mountains. She does, of course, immediately say yes, but then follows up with, but can you trust me? Maybe I'll want to be a big primus of this weird army. So I have to give her credit. She does bring that up, questioning him and his trust towards her. But I would argue this would have been probably the opportune time to mention there's no excuse now. You know who the jackal is. You saw him in the room with Darrow before the whole knife incident and all that. You can't just say, like, well, I wasn't sure of who the jackal was. Now you know that's your brother. This probably would have been a good time to mention that's your sibling. That's my argument.
I always wonder with Mustang if it's one of those, she's always testing him. And is this one of those times where it's like, I know that you know that I know that you know, but I'm
Oh,
not going to say that I know that you know that I know that you know,
yeah.
because I want to see if you'll be the one to say, I know that you know that I know that you know.
Yeah.
And, the layers within layers, the puzzles, the mazes, like, is this him building her character for future tests and showing us that she's not going to always share her information?
I just
And
thought
that's
of
just something Darrow has to live with.
That's fair. That's a great point. And then I just thought of her growing up, looking at Adrius's puzzles and how figuring those out is also how she deals with like relationships and information. And
100%.
yeah,
I think
God
it's
damn
all
it, Cole. Good job.
through the cipher of her childhood with Adrius.
Yeah.
Every relationship is a maze that you have to find the exit to, or find the center of.
But
And that's
as a
what she's doing with
spouse,
Darrow.
that's got to be
That'd
frustrating.
be fucking exhausting.
Yeah. Like, I don't know what you're saying. I'm going through this fucking maze. I'm just asking you, what do you want for dinner?
I was just gonna say, it's the common, like, what do you want to have for dinner?
Yeah.
I don't know. What do you want? I don't really care. Okay, well, do you want pizza? No, I don't want pizza. So you do care?
Yeah.
No, I don't care. Okay, well,
I told you I
know
don't
that
care.
you know that I know that. Yeah, I
Yeah.
don't care. It's like,
Now
God
you're not
damn it.
listening. Yeah. Everyone goes to bed hungry. But
mac and cheese.
I would, yeah, ramen noodles.
Exactly.
I'd even add in, after their awesome little makeout section, she could have argued, that they both yearned for more, but held back because they wanted to go further. It could have been hey, we're truly on the same page here. They had this moment. They had a bed right there. They could have hopped on the good foot and did the bad thing, but they decided to, hey, pause. We want this to go further. Hey, full disclosure, that's my brother. But yeah,
that
was
would
my
have
argument.
really set the mood.
After you decided to, hey, the mood's gone. We want to continue this.
By the way, that crazy man that chopped his hand off and then killed your friend, and
he's my twin,
my best friend. That's my little brother.
Yeah,
we're twins.
So maybe not the perfect time, but I think she should have said something. But I like your point.
I agree with you. I just think it would be against character.
And
it would
it's
be
not
her giving information.
True.
And she hoards it. She's like a dragon with information. She
True.
hoards it, and then she doles it out where necessary, but she's not going to give it up without knowing that it's going to pay off somehow.
Oh.
And she doesn't know if Darrow's worth the investment.
And to be fair, Darrow is a red. It's not like he's being 100% upfront.
Yeah, I mean, everything is always with that in the background of like, how can he be upset for her lying because he's the biggest liar of them all?
He's faking it all. So the third conflict I wanted to pick apart, which comes back to Fitchner. When Fitchner was brought back from his cell and speaks with Darrow, he's in a much better mood. He's much chipper. He's all happy. He's kind of like talking smack with Darrow, and he mentions something curious. He was discussing how much influence or meddling the Proctors did while the game was afoot. He calls him Turd. Don't tell me you're still bitter about the poisoning, the sicknesses, the setup with Cassius, the bears in the woods, the shitty tech, the terrible weather, the assassination attempts, the spy. Does that quote confirm my suspicion that Mustang was poisoned? Back during the cave chapters, what other times do you remember in this entire book that there was mentioning of sicknesses or poisoning? And now eating dead animals from Titus and berries and all that, that's not a sickness that I kind of interpreted. When else was there poisoning? Because remember how she just randomly got sick and was with fever? Is he admitting to my idea?
To your point, he gives him medication, but like maybe it's an antidote.
Yeah,
Um, I don't know. We're in the land of headcanon, but
yeah, of
like
course.
that actually does make sense unless he's referring to them. Because didn't they just give her like some kind of poison to knock her out? Wasn't she eating something that made her
Yeah,
unconscious?
she did eat something and then was had sedatives.
But Fitchner wouldn't know that because he was captured.
Oh yeah, he was in the dungeons, so he didn't know
So
anything at that point.
so to your point, I don't think there's ever a reference of anybody being poisoned.
Because I know the
Certainly
proctors
not by the
meddled with their
proctors.
food. No, they meddled with
Yep,
their
yep.
food. They put those like worms in their bread during when they were
Yep.
traveling south. But I read that and I was like, that
That's
confirms my
probably that.
suspicion. Um,
No, that's a good catch because everything else he lists off, they did.
yeah,
So the one thing, it would be weird for him to just randomly throw in something they didn't do,
yeah. And
like
if anybody
implicating them of
listening,
even more crimes.
yeah, if anyone's listening or has an idea, or shoot it out on a
Yes,
tight beam, and I want to pick
send a
that
tight
apart.
beam.
Because I still think Mustang was talking with somebody too in
Yep,
that time in the
yep.
cave when Darrow was sick with fever, and then it was very quickly after that she was sick.
Yeah, and if we play that out, if a proctor came to her and said, "Hey, you need to let
Give
him
him up.
die. Don't take care of him, or else," and she said, "No, I'm going to," continues to take care of him, and then all of a sudden, conveniently, comes down deathly ill.
Yeah.
I don't know. There's something there.
All right. I'm glad you agree. But Fitchner tries to play this off like, oh, it's just the way of the game. Proctor's metal. And I personally, of course, don't think he had anything to do with much of those early interactions because that poisoning Fitchner still was out and about. But he's just trying to still play now that he feels safe that he's some sort of higher authority and kind of being
Mm,
jovial about it. But the other issue I had with Fitchner's chipperness, I don't know if that's a word, I'm going with it, is
it works.
all right, how overjoyed he is believing his son, Severo, is now safe.
Hmm.
Because Darrow calls him out for it. It's like, what are you so happy about? My son is safe. Darrow has done so much damage to this institute. The likes, it's never happened before in the history of the school. Who knows what the outside world is reacting to seeing it? Some of the video footage had to have been released. It's not like it's not known
Oh
to
yeah.
everybody. What did they witness and what would they do about it? Darrow figured out and had to have been released to the public that they figured out the signet rings are connected to cameras. They took Olympus. He killed a proctor. So how could Fitchner possibly think that his son Severo is safe? Safe from what? I
Yeah.
don't know. It annoyed
Yeah,
me.
particularly if the proctors all are under the impression that like this could go sideways.
Yeah.
Nero could show up and kill everybody, or at least kill all the kids that were attached to Darrow, or even the
And
board
the
of quality
failed
control.
proctors. Oh yeah.
Anybody could come in and say,
The
look, this is
sovereign.
bad news for all the other institutes. If it gets out that this is how you can win the game by just killing the teachers, then, the solution here is just put everybody to the sword and
Clean
try and
slate.
start over. Yeah, no, that's a good point. I mean, it's probably just a like oversight in the moment. He's overjoyed
Hmm.
because Severo's healthy right now and he hasn't gotten that far, but like you're right. Nobody's safe at this point.
No. And everyone
Like,
still knows he killed Priam. There would be recordings of it. So it's like people would still hate him and want him dead.
and also he took the jackal's eye. Or no, the jackal took his eye, but he took something from the jackal, didn't he? He like wounded him or something.
Now you're calling me out. I don't remember. The jackal or
I,
Lilith took Severo's eye, and then Severo jumped off the cliff.
I thought it was the jackal that took his eye. I don't know.
N-
It
No,
was
he's the
weeks
one-eyed
ago that we
goblin.
were on the.
Yeah, he's the
Yeah,
one-eyed goblin roaming the south. That was the
yeah,
Severo.
yeah.
Um,
So like
and
he
there's
did something to the jackal. So
yeah,
you still have the jackal and Nero maybe wanting his fucking pelt.
and
So you're
and
right. I don't think
yeah,
he's fully safe. And I don't think Fitchner knows that.
no, he's not quite piecing it together for as wise as he is.
Mm.
Another conflict is because of Darrow's character that we've touched on this. He decided to cut down Antonia, Cassandra, and Vixis, and it's basically we completely touched on all of this, so we can skip past that one. Don't worry about that. Last 2 points of the chapter, I think I found an error. On page 370, Roke delivers a standard to Darrow outside of Mars. As he quotes, I have Clown and Pebble enslaved them all with the standard of Mars. A thin boy I hardly recognize delivers it to me, but when he grabs me in a skeletal embrace, I hug him so hard it hurts. I know who he is. So at that point, Roke gives Darrow the standard of Mars. But then on page 372, Darrow goes up to the war room to meet with Cassius, and Cassius sits with his iron blade out on the table, the house Mars's table. He's in the seat I carved with my sigil. The old house flag lies across his knee. The Primus hand dangles around his neck. And then later on, Cassius sets the standard and his sword down and walks close to me.
Mm.
So it's...
Well, you know, man, there's a lot of standards going around. There's a
Yeah.
lot of flags. Who
It's just-
knows?
there's too
Who
many.
knows? Maybe it's they upgraded their aesthetic and they knit a new one out of like pelts or who knows? Who knows? There's too many
And
going around.
you got soiled loin cloths with the Reaper's sigh on it. I just picked that up and I was like interested.
You know, no, I think that's probably one of those weird things where, you know, you got editors and people looking at it, but if everybody sees nothing, then there's nothing to correct, and stuff like that kind of slips through, for sure. I've seen a few weird ones. There's one in I think in Iron Gold where they're on Mercury, and there's a line where they're on the beach and Apollonius goes up and Darrow's on the ground lying down. He like got hit by something and is knocked over. Apollonius, it says, goes over and helps him to his feet. And then literally like the next paragraph, he says, and then Grays went over and helped Darrow to his feet.
Yeah.
So it's one of those things like every editor that saw that, every proofreader, you know, Pierce, like everybody read
it was
that,
all good.
and nobody saw it, and just kind of their eyes skimmed over it and didn't see the same thing, and then it got to publication.
Yeah, I mean, and it's such silly little nonsense, but it's something that I was like, oh, well, caught that.
It's what makes it good, because that's human error is involved. That makes it real. It's when it's all perfect that, you know, like a computer made that.
Yeah, fair enough. They're taking over everything. All right.
Beauty is in the imperfections.
Yes.
Don't forget that, Charles. That's why your wife loves you.
I see what you did there. There's a lot of imperfections. Or maybe she's blind. I don't know. Anyways. So, lastly, from this chapter, I shall read, I take the Mars flag and pin the Primus badge to myself. I watch the map on the wall. My sling blade banner flutters over every castle there. My men secured the rest, even as Tactus makes ready Olympus for Mustang's assault. Now, those castles belong to me, not to the wolf of House Mars. Now, this goes back to an earlier point that I brought up. We never had a chance to see an active map, but now we know, according to the map, that Darrow's been ravaging and taking castles, and it's not showing a Minervan flag or a Mars flag. It showed a new symbol. So within the rules of the Institute, you don't have to be strictly tied to the banner, to your house banner. You could still be within the Institute and succeed even without a banner, as long as you have a big enough army and can cause a disruption.
Yep. It was. I think you were the one who was pointing in that direction pretty early on, and you were right. I think it makes sense. I just don't know if they told us that, or
I think it
You
was
know,
like
there was,
inferred, it was implied, but
yeah,
it never
yeah,
was like concrete. It was just kind of like, here's a loose rule, but he
yeah.
basically, you can do whatever you want. But that was my
Well,
guess.
we learned pretty early on. Again, the rules are there are no rules. So
Yeah.
like, but without thinking that all the way to its nexus point or whatever, its completion. Well, obviously, if there are no rules, then a house could be formed out of nothing, like
Yeah.
what Reaper did. But yeah, it was a good catch on your part.
So what I have for quotes is this one I read at the top. Darrow, love, not lust. Page 365. I know I'm impetuous, rash. I process that, and I am full of many things: passion, regret, guilt, sorrow, longing, rage. At times they rule me, but not now, not here. I wound up hanging on the scaffold because of my passion and sorrow. I ended up in the mud because of my guilt. I would have killed Augustus at first sight because of my rage. But now I am here. I know nothing of the Institute's history, but I know I have taken what no one else has taken. I took it with anger and cunning, with passion and rage. I won't take Mustang the same way. Love and war are two different battlefields. I love that quote. And as I've mentioned, I am a sucker for stories that talk about, like, you had your true love or whatever, and you move on and, like, find love again. Like, you're allowed to feel that way. And this is a nice way to see the internal insight of, like, Darrow's own behavior and learning from his faults and admitting that you can love again. And
Mm.
it's not just lust. This was a point where he kind of knows that he wants more from this relationship with Mustang.
Yeah, I agree. I think it's the epitome of live for more. Like
Yeah.
he is doing what she told him to do.
And I also agree love and war are two totally different battlefields. They can get messy. I I have two beautiful daughters, and they're going to be getting older, and I'm dreading the day I have to deal with any of that madness. And I've already told people, I've told you, war is easier than daughters. But yeah,
That needs to be a T-shirt.
yes, we shall make it. I actually think I heard it first from Game of Thrones. It must have been, it's from George R. R. Martin. I think
Probably
Ned
Eddard
Stark.
Stark.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So next quote is from Pollux and Cassius's guilt. Pollux says to Darrow, "Don't kill him, please. It ate his mind up, man. Ate it all up what he did to you. We all found out. So just let him get some time away from this place, man. It does things to your head. Makes you forget we don't have a choice." Now, the reason I picked this is because this gave me false hope. And thinking that when Darrow heads up to the war room to confront Cassius, I was
Yep.
kind of hoping for like a resolution, maybe not fully, but an understanding, if you will. Like,
Yep.
I was forced to kill your brother. I was racked with guilt. You tried to kill me. You've been ravaged by guilt. You know, I said I was sorry. Can we be friends? Like, I don't know.
Can't we all just get along?
Right? But
You know.
of course, Cassius, his honor remains, and that is not the
Oh,
case.
nice. Nicely done. Nicely
Ah.
done.
And the last quote for the chapter is Darrow Primus, page 373. I am a red helldiver of Lycos. I am Gold Primus of House Mars, and I'm going to my last battle in this bloody damn valley. After that, the real war begins. I don't know why that spoke to me so much. I love that quote.
Yeah, it's very much a setting the tone for not the Not it's not the punctuation on the book, but it's pretty damn close.
Yeah. And now we get to chapter 44, Rise. Darrow, as we know, has reclaimed Mars. Tactus has cleared the south of any remaining hostiles. I don't know why I said it like that. Hostiles. Olympus has been fortified with what Darrow could muster at such short notice. He sends out Nyla, Milia, and a dozen others in ghost cloaks to scout for the Jackal's movements. Afraid that Mustang would have shared sensitive information of his army and capabilities, he shifts whatever he can to alter the paradigm. In the distance, Darrow sees Nyla and Milia approaching Olympus, not shrouded in their ghost cloaks, and in plain view as they approach. Also accompanying them is Mustang, who is carrying something. Darrow calls to his troops to hold, and to Mustang's credit, as she approaches Darrow, she doesn't really give him shit for doubting her, so tip of the cap. She drops a bound and gagged and naked Adrius Au Augustus, a.k.a. the Jackal, out onto the ground. And for Severo's minute, it wasn't Severo, but it's pretty much what Severo would say. Tactus replies, "Bugger my gory balls." Have to
A
add
great
that.
stringing of words together.
Yes, it's very Severo, and I hate that Tactus said it. But
Yep.
later, Mustang explains to Darrow that he shouldn't feel guilty for not trusting her completely. She owns up to her mistake of not revealing that she was the Jackal's sister. Her defense was she never saw him as a brother. Her true brother was killed by Carnus Au Bellona. Regardless of their upbringing, I've talked about it last chapter, I kind of find it as a poor excuse, but she does acknowledge it, and to me that means a lot. This issue causes doubt in Darrow's mind anyway, questioning if she is her father's daughter or is she the girl who hums Eo's song. The dropships have come to meet the students, all lined up on Mount Olympus. As they are landing, Severo informs Darrow that there was a little hiccup with some of the audio from the holo transmitter. But all is fine. He deleted any proof. 200 dignitaries and the arch-governor himself disembark from the shuttles. The only proctor not bound and gagged to meet them is Fitchner himself. It appears any questions of Darrow's actions going beyond the bounds of the game are completely swept away. This is the first in the Institute's history. Darrow's creativity, the sacking of Olympus. But rest assured, this will be the last time that ever happens. Or I believe the last time the Institute's ever opened. Correct? I don't know. I forgot about it. I don't know if there's another one after this.
Yes, we do.
There's an...
Yeah, because in the next book that we're going to break down, remember that's part of their plan. Mustang and Nero go to kidnap the kids from the school, while Darrow goes to Arcos.
Yeah, you're right. Completely forgot about that. Ever wise Cullen. I should have put that in a... Well, no, you should have put that in a question for me. I would have been dumbfounded. The director pins some sort of new badge on Darrow, and they all disperse. Before the arch-governor even sees to his own children, he approaches Darrow to offer him a deal. "My condition is this. I will give you what you want for your silence. I will sponsor your application to the Academy, where you will learn to sail the ships that conquer the planets. I will provide you with the funds and patronage requirements. I will introduce you to the Sovereign. I will do all these things for your silence, if you become one of my Lancers, an aide-de-camp, a member of my household." Darrow is irritated and frustrated by Nero's boldness, but ultimately decides to accept the offer. "Darrow, Lancer of House Augustus, rise. There are duties for you to fill. Rise. There are honors for you to take. Rise for glory, for power, for conquest and dominion over lesser men. Rise, my son, rise.
I
Now,
would.
yeah, right? You'd take it up on
I
that.
mean,
But,
I'd be like, I'd run through a wall for that guy.
yeah. And I didn't, okay, we'll get to that when we get to the book, but my mindset on Nero changes over the
I
next
know.
book.
He's
So,
a complicated character.
yeah. Well, much like his daughter, I guess, and her friggin' puzzles. Okay. So, I understand Darrow's internal conflict as it relates to Mustang after learning her family ties, but I find it not as conflicting as Darrow interprets it to be. And now that I'm reading this, I feel like it's something that we have already touched on. She never once questioned his loyalty, ever, since they saved each other. She never trusted him or tested him for power of their army. She returned her own twin brother gagged and naked as the day he was born. What else could she have possibly done to not earn his trust? Because even at the end of this book, he's still doubting her motives. And that seemed, I guess, to really irritate me as I wrote down in my notes.
No, it is. It's a problem that I have too.
Yeah.
Because it's like, how much more does he need?
Yeah. How much
But-
more could she possibly do?
Yeah. I think it's more a reflection of him than her.
And his weaknesses or
Yeah,
so
and
yeah.
he's, again, the ultimate betrayer.
Yes.
You know, I had a boss once who thought every one of his employees was stealing from him. And I asked him, and he was like, because when I worked for other people, I stole from them.
Oh.
And so he just assumed everybody was stealing.
So that was my question. Guilty conscience, like, you know.
Yeah, I think you're right. I think he just, because he's the one who's betraying everybody, he's like, but also they're also betraying me somehow all the time. Or have that potential, that ability to.
Yes.
And I think that there's also an element here of when he's dealing with Mustang, he's dealing with a greater intelligence than him. And so, like,
far greater, to be fair.
Where he never thought it was a possibility that might be some kind of connection. He never came up with the potential plan of that being like, what's my contingency if they're somehow allied? I bet you that she was like going through 1,000,001 different possible ways that this plays out if he thinks that I betrayed him. And so that's why she doesn't really surprised at him not being upset with, thinking she whatever.
Yeah.
She thought of every potential outcome and had a plan for it.
And Darrow, to bring your own brother like bound and gagged and naked, it's like we can't trick and like somebody's going to come out of the woods and he has a knife or it's like he's naked. There's nothing else you can hide.
Yeah, I agree though. It becomes frustrating and it becomes a storyline that I found to be compelling because it was a lot of the will they, won't they, when are they going to get together?
Yeah.
But it also became okay, like she's passed every test.
Yeah.
Like there's nothing that she could do.
Yeah. So the last questions I had, actually, I'm glad you brought it and touched on them. It was basically his own guilt, mistrust due to his own guilt, or what about the guilt of maybe betraying Io and actually falling in love with the gold? And that's somehow tearing him up and he's not allowing himself to fully commit or trust in her.
I think the quote you picked to kick it off is a good one because it is like he's so in love with her that in the heat of the battle moment combat, he's still like, oh, I got to find her a flower.
Yeah.
But
I mean, yeah, because
he also can't really pull the trigger on that because there's another part of him that's like, you're betraying your people and you're betraying your dead wife. So like anything she does can't be good enough because then it'll make you okay with her, and you shouldn't be okay with her.
And that may quell some of the rage that he has because they killed his wife, and but now you're moving on and thinking of another, and that's got to
That
be
brings up
destroying him
another good
too.
point. On another level, he's like, "This is the daughter of the man that killed my first wife."
Yeah.
Like, how much of a betrayal can I, short of falling in love with Nero, I can't
Yeah.
betray her memory much more.
Yeah, it's that's a good point. Simply put, one sentence. Yep. Hey, anything's possible. So,
Hey,
you know, sci-fi futuristic. Never know.
they're all
So,
golds. So
conflict 2. Severo realizing what Darrow said in the final moments with Apollo. I like the twist, the added drama to the story. Severo figuring it out, saying, "Hey, there was an issue with the audio, and I took care of it." But my question is, what do you think Severo really knows? And this is headcanon. Does Severo know who his father is at this point? Does he know now, seeing and hearing that footage? Does it confirm something? Like does he fully believe Darrow
oh,
is
does he
red?
suspect? Does he suspect that Fitchner's Aries?
That's what I'm wondering. But has he always known, or did he know that his
No,
father
no,
was
he
Aries?
he definitely doesn't know.
All right,
No, because when he finds out, it's a shock.
all right. Because that's the problem with reading these books, and then I've read Red Rising now over and over again, where I feel like I've forgotten half of it throughout the entire series. So everything's new and exciting.
Yes.
But okay, so he doesn't know. But what do you think, Severo, upon hearing that audio, what's going through his mind?
I think he suspects that Darrow is a red.
Okay, he immediately,
I think that he is smart,
yeah,
and there's so much weird about this guy. You know, he's different. He's so different from all the other golds that Severo's dealt with, that like maybe not a suspect. I don't know. It would be such a huge leap because it hadn't been done before, or
I
nobody
know.
knew that it was a thing.
That's the
So like,
question that I have.
you know, would his imagination take him to the idea that this could be a red in disguise? Probably not. That would be a huge leap. But maybe he's like, this guy is some kind of weird reformer, or,
Yeah,
maybe he was a gold that was taken in by a red family or something strange.
that's where I
That
pictured at first, because it's like he's a young kid as well. They're 17, 18 years old. Severo probably hasn't experienced everything that the society has, and he's probably been in a sheltered life himself, like the rest of the golds are well, maybe not his, like the rest of the golds, but
No, I mean,
would
less
he even
so,
know
but
of
still,
carvings? And yeah,
yeah.
he wouldn't have that idea or thought process to think, oh shit, this guy's an imposter.
Well, he would know that, like, Evie, that people get carved, and they, at a brothel, you could get a carved girl that looks like a dragonfly or whatever. But I just don't think that it would be in his mind that someone would carve a red into a gold, because it's such
Yeah,
a extreme thing, and it's seemingly impossible,
I was gonna
right? Like
say it's impossible.
everybody's shocked that it's a thing.
Yeah,
So I doubt that he goes there, but it's just clearly he knows something.
all right.
He certainly knows enough to delete that piece of
Yes.
footage. So
Yeah. And now he knows. Well, there's an even deeper bond that's between them now. But Darrow's like questioning, of course, because he's so deep undercover in this, you know,
and he doesn't really know Sebro.
black
I
ops.
mean, he
And yeah,
knows him through the lens of the Institute, but like he doesn't know, is this guy gonna leave here and then go say something? Like, did he delete that footage, or did he copy it? Like,
is he trying to
is
use it as
there
leverage after this,
yeah,
or
is this
yeah,
gonna be a thing that's a monkey on his back forever now? Yeah, I mean, this last chapter just has a lot of like setting the table for the next book, like a
yeah,
lot of little threads here that are just leading to the next level.
set the stage?
Exactly.
When the Institute director pins a badge on Darrow, that's it. It's over. No one knows what to do with themselves. They all feel so empty, silly, dressed in full war gear. Darrow says, I look at my sling blade and wonder how useless it has just become. It's as though we're supposed to congratulate one another, cheer, or something. But there is only silence, a hollow silence for victors and losers all. I am empty. Have you ever done or completed something, and then once it's done, you just felt that same like emptiness inside? Like the sadness, the void that will no longer be filled.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I mean, plays are like that
Yeah,
because you rehearse with people and you're deep in these like emotional moments with the same group of people for hours on end for months before the show goes up, and then you have the show and the heightened energy of, oh, we're doing this,
performance and
and exactly, and then that last bow after the show's over, you're kind of like, oh, what the fuck do I do now?
yeah,
um and you do have a moment of like, okay,
yeah.
um
Like what? But then I always, so I have this like sadness, like utter, it's not like scared, but it's profound. It's different when I just feel like emptiness. It happens in big and little things where if I'm playing or a book series like Game of Thrones
yeah.
or a very good game that's captivated me, and once I beat it, I'm just a day or two afterwards like just depressed almost to a point where I'm like, well, now it's not there anymore. And that brought up to my
Mm,
point last chapter where I will actually leave something unfinished because then I can cling to the hope that, well, no, it's still alive. It's just, I haven't gotten to
yeah.
it yet. And I didn't know if you had similar feelings or if I'm just
No,
crazy.
no. Now that you mention it, I mean beyond plays, but like you're right. Books, I've very many times gotten to the last like 50 pages and kind of had a panic attack
Yeah.
where I'm like, oh my
You
god,
don't
this is
want
almost
to.
over. And it's not, yeah, it's not even about like, oh, what's going to happen to these characters. It's more of like I don't want to leave this place and then not
Yeah.
have it be the same when I return. Um, Alicia Fortune Reads,
Mm-hmm.
Alicia on
Yep.
Instagram, she had a story up today that I thought was really interesting. It was, what books are you sad? I don't remember, I'm paraphrasing, but it was something to the effect of like, what books are you sad that you'll never be able to read for the first time again?
Yeah.
And it's that kind of thing too, where it's like, it is kind of a sorrow that you feel because you're leaving these people in this place and likely never to be there again, and certainly never going to be there again the same way
The
that you
first,
were the
yeah.
first time you experienced it. It is fucking sad. Way to bring the show to a grinding halt in the last
Wow.
episode with the
No, but
most depressing.
yeah.
No,
It's
no,
it's happened for big
you're right.
things too.
The word you used was profound. It is like a
Yeah.
profound sense of loss.
And as far as like video games or even some these book series, it just tells you the quality and the
Yeah.
writing, how captivating they are because it affects me days or weeks later where I'm like, I still feel freaking bummed. Now it's over. And I felt that way when I was discharged from the Marines. I questioned anything and everything. There was this massive void. I left friends and brothers and I was lost. And then when my wife and I weren't decided like, hey, we have two daughters now, like we're done having kids. And the idea of never holding like one of my own infants in my forearm again, like that feeling will never happen again. And it's like such a heavy void in my soul. But and that's something I need your help with, Cullen, because I know this podcast in this series, there's going to be like Red God. You got to make sure my ass doesn't just put this stuff on the side and be like, hey, we're not going to do any more episodes. We need to finish it. We need to come to this full completion.
We are. We
All right.
are. This reminds me of there's a Churchill quote. You know me. I love
Yeah.
Churchill.
Hell yeah.
It's one of my favorite quotes. He is talking, I want to say it's after the Battle of El Alamein, where the British have their first real victory. And he says, "This is not the end, nor is it the beginning of the end, but maybe it's the end of the beginning."
Oh,
And that's where we're at, you know?
hell yeah.
I'm
Yeah,
not ending
yeah,
it.
yeah. No,
That's where
no.
we're at. This is the end of the beginning, but it
Now
is
you have
not
to quote
the
that at the
beginning of
sign
the
off.
end.
I want that on my wall. I'm gonna have to get that in like a nice
It's a great
script.
quote because it's like anytime you're struggling or you're going through
Yeah.
something and it's like, this is brutal. Just get to the end of the beginning and then you'll
Yep.
find yourself at the end of it all. At some point, it'll be done.
That's beautiful. I'm glad you pulled that out of your ass. That's nice.
Churchill, he's a special kind of guy.
That's true. You do love him very much. So, conflict number 4 in this last chapter. There's lots of doubt at the end of this chapter. Darrow is trying to figure out if he should accept Nero's offer to join his household. For some reason, at the end of this chapter, when Nero offers it, he feels like he's betraying Reds. He's questioning, would Matteo approve of this? Would Dancer approve of this? And I don't get it. Because earlier he was with the Jackal. The Jackal was asking him basically for the same thing, except not
Yeah.
from Nero's words himself. And he knew then that he should have accepted it. Nero is offering him the best possible outcome you could hope for. The
Yeah.
Rising wants you to be on the inside to take down the society. The only better option would have been if the Sovereign herself came and showed up and is like, hey, I want you to join my household.
Yeah.
So the whole end of the chapter, he's like, I don't know what to do. I was like, all right, you're saying yes, get over it.
I think you're right. I do think that it's more maybe just inner struggle of like, I don't actually know. There's no like roadmap here. Nobody actually told me what the steps here are that I should be taking.
Yeah.
They told me the goal, they told me the end result. And
Did they? They just kind of threw him to the
well, they told him
wolves, really.
I mean, they told him that he wanted to get in the inside and then tear it down. And that,
Yeah,
to your
but
point,
that's
they
it.
threw him to
Yeah.
the wolves.
Yeah.
So like, I can see the struggle of like, I don't know, is this what I should be doing? I guess this sounds like the right thing. And,
Yeah.
and ultimately he comes to that conclusion, but having a few moments of like,
So
I don't know what the fuck I'm supposed to do here. Like,
Yeah.
I guess I'll do this. I think it just humanizes him. Again, it reminds the reader that he's struggling on more than one level and more than 3 or 4 levels. He's on like every level. He's got a struggle going on. Even when the correct path is in front of him,
Yeah.
he doesn't know if that's the correct path.
But again, you don't know until you take that first step, and then you're
Yeah.
committed to it, but you got to deal with it as it comes. And to keep him safe, the Sons of Ares and all that, they have to keep him in the dark. But that's got to be frustrating as hell, because not being able to give guidance on, hey, this is an idea, what you should do, where you need to go, what's your goals. It's just,
I mean, that's Fitchner's whole position throughout the whole book.
Yeah.
Is him being like, don't do this, dude. Stop fucking doing this.
Yeah.
I can't tell you why I'm telling you to stop, but like, don't.
Yeah. Like, look at me, stop
Exactly.
it. And this is kind of my own little thing on the side. I disagree with Darrow's first assessment of the Gold's ability to show love. He ends up saying, both his golden children watch us. So do Cassius and his father after they embrace one another. There are tears for Julian. I wish I were with my family instead of here. I wish I could feel Kieran's hand on my shoulder, feel Liana's hand in mine as we watch Mother set dinner for us. That is love. That is family. These people are all about glory, victory, and family pride, yet they know nothing of love, nothing of family. These are false families. And my point to reading that, and I guess you wouldn't really know it at the time reading the first book, you find out later. But yes, over the last few hundred years, golds have gotten pretty greedy with their wealth and power, but they're not without the capability of love, right? Unless you're like the total sociopath known as Adrius, wanting your child to strive and do better is a form of love, right? And Kavix, he had pure love for Pax and Mustang when she was like sent off to him, and she was almost like a daughter to him. So just his mindset, just thinking like they don't know love, they all care about glory and honor. It goes deeper than that, and I don't know why, but I had to touch on it.
Well, I think to your point, literally at the beginning of that quote, he talks about how Cassius and his father have tears for Julian.
Yeah.
They're
I
like
didn't even
crying
tie
over
that
the
in. I
dead
went right to
son. Like,
Kavix. Yeah.
I mean, they are literally crying about the dead brother and son.
Yeah.
That's definitely tears of sorrow and loss and love.
Yeah.
So
But to be
it's
so
right in front of his
blinded.
face.
Yeah. That's a better
and he
point.
still can't see it.
Yeah. But to be fair, it does look bad when Nero doesn't even meet with his children first and he just goes right to Darrow.
But what we keep learning in these books and throughout the series, but it's a theme here, is that people are the same, no matter what.
Yeah. Yep.
No matter their color, no matter their race, their religion, their creed. Like, you have shitty people, you have good people. You have shitty parents, you have good parents.
Yeah.
Doesn't matter their wealth or their poor or their whatever. They're just shitty people and good people. Like, Nero is not a good parent. Does he think he's doing the right things for his children? Yes, on some level, he thinks he's protecting his children. He was willing to break the institute to cheat for the kid that he doesn't even like. I mean, he doesn't even
That's
like
a form
that kid.
of love.
He's trying to protect him. He's trying to give him a heads up in the game of life.
Why
And
Adrius?
That's a form of love.
Why Adrius and not Mustang?
Because of the son factor.
Okay. Yeah, I figured if it would be that simple and sexist.
At some point when, and I don't remember what book, but at some point he's talking to Darrow about
probably didn't
taking
want to.
over as being his heir.
Oh.
And Darrow says to him, like, what about Mustang? And he's like, I need a son to carry on or whatever. Some bullshit about sexism.
Yeah. Well, and the last thing we learned from this book, and it's just kind of thrown in there in a random couple sentences, that it was Lorne Arcos himself who was the one actually responsible for sending the knife ring and pendant to Darrow. And I have to point out,
I think you called that.
Yeah, I guessed it. Or it was an option. I gave like, well, was it Fitchner or Lorne? And to his credit, and he is the war-torn, salty dog who knows when things are tough, it's the little things of home that help set you right again. So I take that as that was his mindset when he was like, hey, get this to Darrow. He needs it to continue on his war path or whatever.
I think you're right.
Yeah.
Well, it's what you brought up earlier. I mean, that was his Clash of Kings.
Yeah.
It's not a weapon. It's not something that's going to help you survive the combat or event or whatever, but it is the thing that will help you survive.
Yes. And it's in those moments of like, you cling to the little things that just bring back a sense of home or your childhood or whatever. It could be
humanity,
like a lucky penny or, and it helps reset your mind and keeps you going. And for me, at that certain time, it was like rereading this. I wish I still had it. I don't know where it went. The thing was beat up. Pages were ripped out of it. A whole chapter was ripped out of it. And at one point, I actually pretended to like rewrite it from memory and try to put it into the book. We're talking about Game of Thrones, but it's like something like that I had, from back here,
40-page chapter.
yeah, out of a 900-page book, or The next book, Red God, speaking of that, isn't that supposed to be pretty hefty, right?
Yeah. They're talking about maybe it being 2 books. I think he said it's like coming up on 1,000 pages, and that the publisher might want to split it into 2, and he's
That
trying
could be interesting.
everything in his power not to do that.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
don't care. Give it to me. I'll take a
Yeah.
1,000-page one book. I'll take 2 500-page books. I
Yeah.
don't give a shit.
Just like we
Whenever
talked about
he's
earlier.
got it to the point that he's ready to put it out there, I will be consuming that.
100%.
In
Moving
fact,
on.
we should tell people now that if the book comes out and we're not done, which is a very likely possibility, we will switch to Red God.
That's a good point. Yes.
Like midstream, and then circle back to finish. But
yeah,
just putting it on people's radar.
All right. We'll touch on that too a little bit later on at the signing off. I just want to know something about that. So, quotes from this last chapter. Darrow, if he could harm Mustang, page 375. I wonder if I could beat her as mercilessly as I beat Fitchner, the girl who hummed EO's song. Never. I'm still a Red at heart. It just was like, all right, he felt betrayed, and his mind, that sentence was like, I wonder if I could beat her as bad as I beat that dude over there. I was like, damn. Okay, I get you're upset, but take it down a
coming
notch.
in hot.
Yeah.
Also, another moment of like, is he insinuating that Reds don't beat women? Or
yeah,
it's another moment of like where, being a Red is somehow better than being a Gold.
they can
He
only
still
show
hasn't
love.
come to the realization that like they're all the same.
Yeah. And
there's
that
just
goes,
some people on top and some people at the bottom.
Yeah, and that goes perfectly actually to the next quote from Darrow at 376. She is what golds can be, should be, yet her father and brother are what golds are. EO never would have guessed it could be this complicated. There is goodness in golds, because in many ways they are the best humanity can offer, but they're also the worst. What does that do to her dream? Only time will tell. So perfectly encapsulates that, yeah, they're good and bad in everything, every color, whatever.
There's a day of red birds somewhere down the line. And I'm pretty sure
like
it's a lot
red
of
penguins or
red pelicans, something to that effect. And I'm pretty sure it's a lot of low colors doing terrible shit.
Yeah.
So again, just put it on the radar.
Allegedly,
goods and reds are only different. Well, we'll get there when we get there.
But I just had a little note that yes, the golds may have built it, meaning the society, and in turn enslaved others, but there is goodness everywhere within everyone. There are golds who are also trying to fix it, to upend it, to shift it up. You can't just kill them all. Sometimes dreams have to shift, because reality is a fickle bitch, forever throwing force pikes into the mix to throw you off balance. I don't know why I wrote that in there.
I love that. No, it's 100% accurate. And it is literally the entire story from this to Lightbringer.
Yeah.
The shifting, the changing of the dream. The dream has to evolve because the dream is just that. It's a dream. It's a wisp. It's a cloud.
Otherwise, you're the crazy he who shall not be named with a device that can.
Oh, well, no, if you just hold on to these like figurative dream type things, then you're rogue.
Yeah, you're right. Yeah.
You can't expand your mind to accept things outside of whatever it is that you perceive to be reality. And that's.
So Roke has a fault, He has a weakness.
Roke has many faults. I just don't think he's evil.
Did I say he was evil? Did I say he had faults? I don't know. Play back the
tape. Let's go back to chapter
No, don't
1.
do that. It's probably worse. I have just 3 more quotes from this chapter. Darrow, realizing what he has become, page 377. I understand the Institute. I understand war, but I don't understand what is coming in Aegea, or what will come after that. Perhaps that's because I'm more like the Iron Golds, the best of the peerless, those like the ancestors, those who nuked a planet that rose against their rule. What a creature I've become. I don't know how to take that quote. It seems
I think he
bizarre.
just no. I think it's self reflection. I think it's Red Darrow hearing the footsteps of the Reaper behind him and
I
being
love
fully
that.
aware of
Yeah.
what that means
And
and
that's,
knowing that
yep.
that's what he needs to be.
Yeah. I love that. The way I read that and saw that and how he feels like he is the ancestors. He is like those who nuked a planet. I I don't know. It's like it just took this power and level that goldness that he's been able to achieve, and now he took it as like he's loving it. But I kind of see your point as he's almost using that to calibrate himself back down and being like, this is not what
But
I need to be. At
also
times I
like
need to it.
yeah, and I think he fucking likes it. That's the thing that
Oh, yeah,
we don't like to think about Darrow because he's the main character and everybody likes him, but like he enjoys being the war god. He's good
true.
at it.
Yeah,
Why wouldn't he enjoy it? He is good at it. He's very fucking good at it.
it's natural.
You know, it's like, of course he fucking enjoys it.
Hmm.
Who wouldn't enjoy having the powers of a god? It's
So,
just having the humanity to realize maybe I shouldn't enjoy it, or
yeah,
maybe it's a bad thing, or maybe this isn't a good part of me. That's the difference with the other golds because they don't have that self-reflection. They don't think to themselves, is this a good thing or a bad thing? Or
hmm.
does this make me a bad version of myself? Or
I,
at least
I
that's my take on it.
oh, I like it. Can you do good things and be still considered good deeds if you're enjoying it so much while you're decimating armies? I mean, you're doing a good, you're succeeding in the battle, but you're just wiping people out in a simplistic way and you're enjoying it. Does that make you bad even though you're still doing a good thing?
I don't know. I've read a lot of um, first person accounts of different soldiers in combat,
Conflicts. Yeah.
and the dirty secret of combat is that a lot of times guys like it.
Yeah.
They get into it and it's fun until
Be-
somebody they know gets hurt or killed,
yes.
and then
And
it
then it
becomes different.
flips. Yeah.
Yeah. And so, I mean, we're not at that point because Darrow has had people that he cares for get hurt and killed, but like, I don't know if you're, I don't know. It's a good question.
Hmm.
I know there's a book called Storm of Steel by Ernst Younger, and it's his account of or his experience in World War One, and he fought for like 2, maybe 3 years, and he was at some of the worst places anybody in the history of the world has been at. Like, I believe he
Yep.
was at Verdun. I know he was in the spring offensives. These are some of the worst places ever for human beings to ever be.
Yep.
And he fucking loved it. He loved it. He
Yeah.
talks about it, how it makes him feel strange,
Euphoric and
inhuman, alien,
powerful. Yeah.
because he enjoys it so much.
Hmm.
And he knows he shouldn't. And
Yeah.
he doesn't want to, but he does. And there's a bit of
Knowing
Darrow. There's a little bit of Ernst Younger in Darrow.
knowing that he shouldn't be enjoying it is probably what's more tormenting than just living in it. And yeah, that's a little mind fuckery to add to the end of the book. Okay. So Darrow, moving on from that twisted confusion. Darrow, purpose rise, page 380. No matter his confidence, I am right. He is wrong. I am the spark that will set the worlds afire. I am the hammer that cracks the chains. I love that quote. It needs to be.
It's
It's
again,
perfect.
it's also a callback to the opening.
Yeah.
Um,
Oh, the
he is wrong.
prologue.
They will all die.
Oh yeah.
There's a little bit of that kind of phrasing there to echo that, where none of them will survive.
That's
I
awesome
like
because
it. I
that
think
was
it's good.
Nero's speech, and then that was
Yeah.
his response, and now he's actually speaking with Nero, and this is his
And
new
thinking
response.
these still having that same, like, he is wrong, they're all gonna pay.
Huh. I love that. Now we have Darrow and Nero. Words are power. Page 381. Funny how a single word can change everything in your life. It is not funny at all. Steel is power. Money is power. But of all the things in all the worlds, words are power. I look at him for a moment. Words are a weapon stronger than he knows, and songs are even greater. The words wake the mind, the melody wakes the heart. I come from a people of song and dance. I don't need him to tell me the power of words. How true. How true.
Yep.
Words are what
I
moves
mean
the world.
that's why we're here.
Yep.
Words on paper.
Yep.
There's a really interesting, it's not even a theory, it's some people talk about that, magic isn't real. But if magic isn't real, then explain writing, explain words. Like, there is something mystical, magical about the idea that these little paintings essentially come together to create words, and
Scratches.
those come
Yeah.
together to create sentences, and that when they're transported onto a material, and other people can consume them and have thoughts and ideas, and
And it
I
could
mean, that's
transcend time and
just a
yeah.
bizarre, every time you pick up a book written by somebody, you know, a book from 200 years ago, you are
Yeah.
directly communicating with a person who's been dead for 200 years.
Yeah.
You are actually seeing their ideas in motion picture, actually living, breathing ideas forever.
Mm.
There's a magic to that. I don't know what it would be other than that.
No. That is perfect. Now, that is how we end on that sweet little lullaby on the book, the chapter. I
I
love that.
mean,
That well,
well
words
done,
are
my goodness.
basically magic. That how there's no better way to end it from that. We have now
I
officially read through chapter by chapter Red
Dude,
Rising book 1.
can't believe it.
Yep.
Like, legitimately am surprised.
Yeah, three
Um,
3 months ago? Is that when we
and I
started?
commend you. We've stuck to it. We've missed a few recording dates because of life stuff, but like, we
Yeah.
haven't missed a release date.
No.
Which is really crazy. And it's been fun, man. I don't know if
Yeah.
anybody's fucking enjoyed this, but I've had a blast. I
Yeah.
don't care if, I mean, I care if people are enjoying it, but like, I'm enjoying it.
Yeah.
So that's really all that matters.
I love breaking it down, getting your thoughts and testing theories and making me question motives. It's
It's
been really cool and enlightening.
it's fun. I think it's like, we for years used to talk about getting old and living next door to each other so we could sit on a porch and just
Get off
talk
my
at
lawn.
night and, yell at kids and
Yeah.
sit on the porch as the sun goes down and just talk about the day and shit. This is essentially that.
Yeah.
Or at least for
Yeah.
me, it feels like that, where we're just kind of talking about the damn, because that's what we would be doing. If we were sitting on the front
Yes.
porch right now, we would just be talking about the fucking book we're reading,
Hell yes.
which is also really great. So,
Yep.
if you're still listening, which an hour and 40 minutes into the final episode of the book,
Oh wow. Didn't realize.
we appreciate you being here with us for this journey. But stick around, because as Winston Churchill said, This is not the end, nor is it the beginning of the end, but it very well may be the end of the beginning. Or no, it is the end of the beginning.
Yeah.
Um,
That's awesome.
and yeah, we appreciate everybody hanging in there. We are on Instagram, Twitter, and YouTube at Sons of Aries Pod. We are we have an email address. It's the Sons of Aries podcast at gmail.com. If you have ideas, if you have thoughts, if you have stuff that you want us to talk about in Red God, if you have anything that you make, anything that you want to get platformed in any way, whether it be music, interpretive dance, claymation work,
Hell yeah.
stop motion videos, artwork, anything at all, please reach out to us. You don't have to send us a piece of the product. We'll just talk about it, or we'll put it on our social media. If you do want to send it to us, we'll also take it. We'll also pay for it. We just want to get all the creators and the artistic violets out there who are doing cool shit. We want to get as many eyes on it and help you get as many eyes as we can. We have some good ideas. Well, I don't know if they're good ideas. We have some ideas.
I think they're great ideas
about content for in between Red Rising and Golden Sun. I don't know if we're going to take a significant break. I think maybe a week or two.
Yeah.
And in that interim period, we'll keep up with social media stuff. Unfortunately, no, actually, I've been having fun with it more than I thought I was going to.
Likewise.
And it's chaotic. We have a very chaotic Instagram where with two people running it, it's like we get
All
5
over.
stories out in one day and then nothing for 3 days. And then your stories are like the highly produced stop motion or the card quotes. What are they called?
The reading roulette, which I'm going to change. I'm changing that to no, I get the board of quality control, and then it gets hacked.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. They're very, very well done. You've got a lot of like moving parts to them, and you've taken time to film them. And then I just kind of pop on and lazily talk about some dumb fucking thing in like a sweater.
But people love it.
So follow if you want, rate, review, subscribe. We've kind of forgotten to tell people to do that, but if you are enjoying the show, please do it. I don't know necessarily why, other than to let us know that people are out there and enjoying this. And yeah, stick around. Red Rising's done. Golden Sun is about to rise. Chuck, what do you got for the people out there as a sign off?
This has been utterly and immensely enjoyable. Book 1 is done. We have plans, and I'm excited for the next step. I almost want to jump right into it, but I think a week or two, and then we're going to dive deep.
I actually think Golden Sun might take us longer because I think we might have to go like one chapter at a time.
I was going to bring that up. I was going to bring that up when we were going over quotes, and
the chapters are just too long.
They get big.
And they get big, and then there's also way more moving parts, more people, more stuff. So I think the goal is still to get out one on Monday, one on Friday, but it just might take us 6 months instead of 3 months.
Yep.
Which I don't give a shit. So if you don't care, I don't care.
No, I'm good. I love it. I hope people listening, I hope they enjoy it. And if they have any suggestions or say, hey, shut up, don't talk about this so much, send us an email. I'd love to read it and check it out.
With the full knowledge that we will read it, but probably not do what you say to do.
Well, I mean,
just be aware of that.
Anything's possible. You never know. Keep up hope.
Unless it's a very good idea, and then in which case, please. We won't give you credit, but we'll do it.
Life's a bitch.
All right, man. To Golden Sun.
Yes, sir.
We'll see you on the flip side.
Until next time.
All right, man.
See ya.